Day and welcome to the Milton Keynes Business Channel. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. Today I'm delighted to present to you Pete Sanders. He's the MD of Identifi Global. I'm bringing them onto the channel today as the UK's best candidate-led recruitment business. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Christian. Thanks for having us.
Would you like to start by explaining what a candidate-led recruitment business is?
Yeah, thank you. I guess it's probably easier if I give you a quick bit of history, really, and that sort of understands where we are and why we position ourselves in that area. So, both myself and my business partner Gary, we've worked for global recruitment companies, and we've also worked for smaller, more localized or more specialist recruitment agencies, and all of them have their pros and cons. But the one thing that resonated with us through these different companies, and it was a sign of the times, that these companies are extremely client-led. Okay, client is king. Now, we're not saying they're not, so I'll caveat that straight away. But what was very evident is that in the recruitment industry, the market tends to go like this. You put the recruiter will put 4 people forward to a job. The one person that's going to get the job is the one that gets looked after, and they get looked after, and they get all of the regular calls, they get the feedback, they get the updates. They become their best friend because they chase the money. And the 3 people that don't get the job, they get dropped like a bad smell, and they get left hanging, or they get, which is the phrase I hate most in recruitment, is they get kept warm, and and it's sort of half-baked feedback and half-baked relationships. So when we started Identifi, we entered into what was a very candidate short market, and we're still in that phase, but where candidate is king. So that we will operate in that mid to senior level of technical and senior recruitment, so executive search through to your highly technical specialists in our sectors. And we focused our business, and when we started our business, we focused our business on attracting candidates, okay, because they're the things that people want. If they want the best candidates in the market, so we built all of our processes, all of our procedures, all of our policies around attracting and retaining the candidate, okay, and making sure that they get looked after regardless of success. Now, in today's world, where you have all of this technology available to you, this sort of omni-channel communication, there's absolutely no excuse not to be able to communicate and keep candidates updated. Okay, so we decided that that's just a sales pitch. Okay, so we have to go further than that, and we have to put our money where our mouth is, or should I say, put our consultants' money where their mouth is. And what that means is that our consultants are rewarded on candidate experience and not sales KPIs. So if you go into pretty much any recruitment company, they are rewarded on how much money they make, okay, or they're rewarded on how many CVs they send out the door, and essentially it's pounds, right? That's the thing. That's their measure of success, and you'll still see it all over LinkedIn now. Top biller awards, and they fly them all over the world because they've made so much money. But no one's questioned the collateral damage of that, and okay, and how many people have they upset in the process of making all of that money. And now we're not saying we don't like making money, because we do. All right, we absolutely must make money. We're a business at the end of the day, but the consultant is rewarded based on candidate experience. And what that means is that we everyone that enters into the process with our consultants is surveyed. And that survey is a measurement against our 13-point candidate charter, which is on our website. And that is our mark of guarantee. And essentially the survey says, did we do all of these things? And if at the end of that, we use the NPS scoring system, 1 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 being a promoter. So if the average score is a 9 out of 10, then the consultant gets 100% of their commission. If the average score is a 7 and an 8, they get 75% of their commission. And if the average score is a 6 and below, even if they place the role, they don't get any commission at all. Because why would we reward bad performance, right? So, and essentially that's our measurement, and that's how we guarantee with our clients that every candidate that we work with, that we submit to your company, will get the best candidate experience in the market. because our money's on the line for it.
The benefit of that long term, do you get better do you find you get better retention? The clients get the candidates stick for longer and better quality?
Yeah, absolutely. So in recruitment, especially in our space, I would say the average level of tenure is around about 18 months. Okay, that's not through bad recruitment practice. That's just because things change. The tech industry in particular moves at quite a rapid pace. So people tend to move on, quite quickly because they move on to the next project. The next big bit of tech. More money. Is moving fast and things like that. So that happens quite a lot. But the cost of bad recruitment is far greater, and so as I mentioned earlier, lots of recruiters are rewarded by making money. Okay, so when you have that mentality, there are people out there that will do or say anything to make that happen. Okay, they're not looking at the things that we look at. So when we talk about candidate experience, we're not just saying, hey, we're really nice, right? What we're looking at is we're looking at those individuals' motivations. Okay, we're looking at their career prospects and their career trajectory, what it is they're trying to achieve in their long-term goals. What are the things that they need to do or gain in order to get those, that ultimate goal? And traditional agency recruitment often falls short here. And what it does, it intensifies those challenges by prioritizing that replacement over retention. So in a recruitment agency, if that person leaves after 6 months, that's a win for them because they get the role again and then they fill it again. And we focus on that longevity. So where we get benefit is we see benefit in those companies growing because they need more people. Okay, and they come back to us time and time again for that next hire and that next business growth opportunity. So what we've seen is that with our approach and our methodology that we have, and which is now trademarked, we're pleased to announce, is that by working with us, our hires stay longer compared to our competitors. So on average, our hires stay 2.4 years over 1.8 years. So not only do you get them for longer, that's an increase in your ROI of that hire in terms of their salary and our recruitment fee, but also they tend to be higher achievers in your organization and they tend to contribute to bottom line growth more than any other agency.
Just to rewind a second, when did you guys form in Milton Keynes?
2015.
And how many people do you have working for you now?
So we have 13. We had nearly 20, but unfortunately, COVID. Obviously, we had to scale back. We had some natural attrition at that point. Some people went off to join the police and become nurses as well during that period. So, and then we had to have some natural attrition and in that point. But we're starting to grow again, and we're hiring again this year.
Did you start with your 13-point candidate-led plan from day one, or was that something you've introduced?
Yeah, so it was at the end of year one that we developed the candidate charter. It was actually a 12-point candidate charter, and we review it every other year. And it's been the same until, when was it? Last year before, I think we did that. We essentially every year we do a company day, and we go out to market. We do survey with candidates, clients, and we ask them, what do you expect from an agency? What's the service you need? And for the first time, it stayed the same, but they added a new point, and it became the 13-point candidate charter.
Nice. And so that evolves all the time. And do you do similar on the client side? Any?
No, so we are toying with the idea of asking the client, we're being brave and saying to the client, we'll let you pay what you think the service is worth, but we need to really nail that down to make sure that we don't get people just chancing their arm a little bit on there. So that's something, but like I say, the business has always been around the candidate, and what we've seen is that those candidates become clients, and they actually refer us into companies, and we've had many occasions where that's happened because they value the service that we've provided to them and how we've looked up. They've actually felt it firsthand and what that means. So it's not just a sales pitch; they actually see what goes on in the background, and we've had many cases where candidates that have been part of that didn't get the role, have then gone on to get another role somewhere else through another agency, and then referred us in because they preferred the service we provided over the agency, and they haven't been in contact with them, and we've stayed in contact with them more than the agency that placed them. So that happens quite a lot. So our business development is really our candidates, and we make no apologies for that, but we don't do it for that purpose. We do it because of the long-term benefits to our clients and the commercial benefits.
One thing I did notice, actually, one measure of above the parapet success of this, how it's working, is you guys have got more followers than every other company or industry put together on LinkedIn. Yeah. That's mostly candidates, I presume, who are liking what you do, following you.
Yeah. So, having come from the, if you like, the old school recruitment industry where it was all about business development, and, it was very hard for me to switch that mentality in the early days, and once we started to see the benefit of that, we realized that it was the way forward. So it's very rare that we make a sales call, and there were times where I would like us to make a few more sales calls, but it's very rare that we do or have to. And as a result of that, all of our inbound marketing that we've developed, all of our blogs, it's all around candidate help. So they come to us organically through that, and start following us, and that obviously increases our application rates. We get access to the best candidates. We get access to candidates that maybe sometimes not even on LinkedIn and places like that, because they've come across a blog or something like that. So we've got that mixture of exclusive and also open market candidates.
And are you charging the candidates for this service?
No, we don't. Everything we do is for the benefit of the candidate, because ultimately our goal is our commodity is the candidate. So when we speak to a client, that they come to us for that purpose. We need candidates of this caliber and this, and if we can't provide those, then it's just a sales pitch. We see it all the time. We've got the biggest database, or we've got all this, that, and the other.
Because it's following the business model in essence of the big social media giants, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. They're looking after the people that don't pay, and then the customers that do pay come henceforth naturally, because the people that drive the business, i.e. the users, or in your case the candidates, they're the ones that drive it all.
I think the key thing for me was that I didn't want it to be another sales pitch. I've been in recruitment too long, and to go down that route anymore. It needed to be genuine. It needed to be, our mission is to deliver innovative solutions and a superior service, so that our clients and candidates excel. Now, there are millions of recruitment companies out there, millions, and what self-respecting agency out there wouldn't say that they provide great candidate experience? There are lots of them that do, but it's the ones that don't get it, and that's why everyone, what tends to happen in this world is that they'll survey the client when they've placed the job. They survey the client and they say, "Did we do a good job?" And the client says, "Yeah, you did a great job. You placed it. I got the candidate. I'm happy." And then they survey the candidate that got the job and say, "Did we do a good job?" And they say, "Yeah, I did a great job." But they don't survey the three that didn't. And so you can see on our website, and actually we started to only just started to do Google reviews, but we did it all in house. That all of our reviews on our website are genuine reviews, and there are many candidates on there that we didn't place that still rated our service at 5 stars and above, right? So and all of the feedback is genuine. It's a free text area, which I love this, because we get it on a daily basis, where the consultants get feedback that just genuine, heartfelt feedback saying this is great service, we loved it. They don't have to put that in there. It's not a mandatory field. So when it comes in, it's really valuable, and we celebrate that. We really celebrate that over a placement. If someone gets a 10 out of 10, we survey that. They get additional rewards. That we've got a whole range of benefits they get, for getting a 10. And we're really proud that our average NPS score is 9.4.
What's an NPS?
So an NPS is it's a industry wide. It's used across all industries. Essentially it's a barometer of So like I said earlier, a 9. If you score a 9 and 10, they're considered to be promoters of your brand. Okay. If they're a 7 and 8, they're sort of non-plus. It's like it's okay, And if it's a 6 and below, then they're considered a detractor. Therefore, they're going to go away and say bad things about your brand.
I see. They're also brand ambassadors.
Yeah, so in an industry, in the recruitment industry, the NPS score is 4. So that gives you some idea. Now,
That's the average.
yeah, the average in the recruitment industry. Yeah, so we're not perfect, and I'm not saying we're not saying we're perfect. In fact, we do get it wrong. And it's really hard to get that balance between, communication and we have some candidates saying, do you know what, the communication is too much, and we have some people that say they don't like text messages. There's got some people that say they don't like emails, they like calls. So it's hard to get that balance, but we're we're trying, and that's the key thing really, is that we're not perfect, but we're trying to be, and we're on that constant cycle of improvement and feedback. So again, what also happens in that process, if someone scores us a 7 and a below, then I call them directly and say, look, what's gone on, and we get it all the time. People say, I thought 7 was a good score, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's not bad, but what does good look like what does a 10 look like? And we also get survey tough guys, as I call them, where they say, well, I never give anyone a 10. I'm like, well, but what does it look like? You must be able to, what this and this, and they say, yeah, that would do it. And I say, right, okay, well, we can do that, and we feed that back in, and we try and improve. So one of the things we're really pushing on at the moment, and we're updating our website, is to make it more neurodivergent friendly. And we're working with our specialist partner, Cafe Track in Northampton, who focus on getting people with autism into work, and they've placed over 175 people now into jobs, into paid work. And we're working to improve our communication and our terminology and things like that on our website, to open up that pool of candidates, to make them more accessible.
Nice. So I guess that 9.4, does that put you in the top 5%, top 2%?
Top 1%.
Wow, amazing. Close to unbeatable. So I know in the tech space, often clients and candidates are mindful of confidentiality. You might be wrapped up in NDAs, but is there any recent awards, case studies, testimonials, success stories that you can share?
So we've been approached by several clients as a result of our approach, where they'd come across it and they'd seen the purpose of that. And we've won awards in the past for best candidate experience in various different recruiter awards. And I think our testimonials, our candidates on our website, I think they speak for themselves. They are all genuine feedback from our candidates, and so that for us is the biggest award. Recent clients that have approached us off the back of our candidate experience, so Ocado Technology in Hatfield, I would say they're the biggest. They're a company that really value their people, and we've the difference between a company that, so a lot of people say they do good candidate experience, as I mentioned earlier, but very few really go all the way. And Ocado are a really, really great company for doing that. We've got quite a few companies on our website where we've done podcasts. So we have a podcast. It's called the People First Podcast, and it's all around shining a light on companies that really value their people. Okay, they're all clients of ours, and we've reached out to them and we've asked them to talk through their processes around how they attract, measure, develop, and retain top talent, because it's really important for those companies that get highlighted. And often they're companies that people wouldn't necessarily have heard of or wouldn't apply for, because it's they're not on LinkedIn or they're not advertising on LinkedIn. So we really wanted to shine a light on those companies. So I think there's about 15, 20 companies on there that we work with that provide excellent candidate experience, and they work with us for that reason as well, because they see the importance of the agency being a reflection of their brand.
So do you work mostly with clients nationally or locally, regionally?
So we're a UK-based firm, but we work internationally. And now a large proportion of our clients are UK-based, but because of the sectors which we operate in, we operate across 5 sectors, they tend to take us internationally. So we work across Europe. We do lots of work in Australia and also the US. And but our clients tend to take us there. We are expanding into those markets and looking to expand our operations there as well. But at the moment, we're primarily UK focused. So the 5 sectors that we work in are clean tech and biotechnology, future transport and mobility, legal technology and legal services, fintech and financial services, and government and defence. So they seem sort of quite disparate, but actually they're very, very closely linked. The one thing that really does link them all is that they're highly regulated sectors, and that's where we operate best in those markets. We do work with lots of other clients, and that's often through referrals, like I mentioned earlier. And we get are saying, "Oh, can you come and help us with these types of roles?" And if it's technology led, then we're pretty comfortable. But from a client perspective, we work in in those 5 sectors. Clean tech is a huge growth area for us at the moment, and that's something that we're sort of riding that sort of demand at the moment, and hence why we're looking to recruit again, because the demand is going through the roof, and we need more people. So if anyone's listening to this and you're an experienced clean tech recruiter, then I'm very keen to hear from you. But yeah, they're the 5 sectors we operate in, and we also, I mentioned the government defence, we also specialise in security cleared roles as well, so roles that require government high-level security clearance.
And clean tech, in layman's terms, that's environmentally friendly, sustainability type verticals.
Yeah, exactly that. So everything, any company or technology that is committed to the carbon reduction emissions, that's a UK law. The UK is legally bound to reduce its emissions, and it's by 2035, I think it is. And it's any product, service, or technology that contributes to that. So that could be agriculture and farming, could be electric vehicles, it could be sustainability, could be recycling, and all of those things in between.
Fantastic. That sounds like you're doing an amazing job, and certainly some groundbreaking business modeling and success stories that you're achieving. Is there anything else that you would like to add as we come towards the close of our conversation?
Yeah, so I guess unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the candidate experience is a unique selling proposition for us, right? Sadly, in the industry, I'm a career recruiter, and I think that when the industry catches up, then we might have to change our approach or come up with something else. But for now, we're pretty comfortable. They're not catching up fast, because these companies are too far down the road, too client-led to be able to change. But I guess the other key area for us really is our unique methodology, as I mentioned earlier. So we have a set of products and services that our clients work with. So a lot of people think they just come to us, we charge a fee, and then we send them some CVs, and that's it. That is an element of what we do, of course, but we have a range of products and services that our clients can tailor to suit their need. And I think I really want to just get that across. So working with us is different. Not only will it feel different, is that the products and services, our talent operating system, as we call it, is bespoke service. So it's broken down into attract, measure, develop, and retain. Attract is your core recruitment offering, which most companies will be used to. Okay. Again, ours is different, and I would welcome the opportunity to talk to people about that and how that's different. And then we have measure. So we talked about that candidate experience earlier, and about understanding that person's wants and needs. So we're able to measure candidates' personality profile, their preferred working methods. We're able to technically test them to understand their levels and their ability, to understand their skills gaps. An example would be a leadership role where someone needs to work on their communication style or their leadership style. There could be a developer that needs to work on their coding development. So we're able to technically test them and measure them based on the company's culture and values, but also the technical requirements. Then we have develop. Develop is our training capability. So we're able to then train those individuals. So let's say we've identified a change management capability in a senior leader. Okay, they can then do one of our certified courses in change management to fill that skills gap, to then further their career and then improve them in their role. So that's the develop. And then the retain aspect is a a full service offering where we can do all of that in one go, or we can come in as an internal recruiter and we do their internal recruitment for them, applying all of those methodologies to attract the best talent to their business. So attract, measure, develop and retain, and there's more information about that on our website. And our final service offering is our contract complete. So it's the fully certified and guaranteed contract service offering. So people looking to use interims or contractors or temporary workers. There's a lot of change around that at the moment in companies using umbrella companies to it's a highly unregulated sector, and companies are going to be vastly exposed over the next 3 to 6 months as those regulations come in. But our service is fully guaranteed to ensure that if you're hiring contractors or temps or interims, then you can do so with safety and guarantees that everything will be compliant.
And if any potential clients or candidates want to contact Identifi, I presume you give them a free consultancy type initial conversation.
Yep. Yeah, they can go onto the website, they can book a time slot with our consultants directly, a time that works for them, or they can just reach out to them via email and or give us a call, and we'll talk them through the process.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thanks very much for your time today. Thanks for watching, guys. In the description, I will put all of Pete's details, all of the contact details for Identifi Global. Thanks very much for your time today, Pete. It's been very enlightening to hear from a candidate-led recruitment business. 20 years ago, before I started my own agencies, I remember what a nightmare it was dealing with recruitment consultants. And like you say, if you were going to get the job, you would hear from them every day. But if you didn't, you would get blanked or quite often lied to just to keep you on ice. And there's nothing worse as a candidate than you think you might have a job, so you don't get more interviews, or you reject another offer only to find out you've been lied to. So it's refreshing to see you guys doing it the other way around and looking after the people that do the work rather than the people that pay. So to say.
And that's it. That's you know, one of those 13 points is honesty and transparency, right? It's a shame that it has to be, but it is, and we live by that. And if I find a consultant not doing that, then you know they will be dealt with accordingly, really. So yeah, that's what we're all about. So I'm glad that message has come through.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks ever so much for your time today, Pete. Really interesting and to learn about your business. And as said, guys, I'll put all of Pete's details in the description below. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Christian.